Well, a hearty welcome to you and you and you, whatever part of the world you may be joining us at this time. We say welcome to another episode of Transforming Lives One at a Time. It is our hope on this program that your lives are being positively influenced by the information being disseminated week after week. Be sure to follow, like, comment, and share on all our social media platforms. We are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and of course, Facebook. Today we begin part 1 in the 2-part series, Relationship is Serious Business. And indeed it is, where we explore some of the dynamics associated with relationships. My guest has over 12 years of experience as a guidance officer and family life educator. Carissa Samuel is passionate about equipping individuals with the tools they need to grow, thrive, and live purposefully. Her background in social and emotional learning fuels her expertise in personal development. She has been involved in singles ministry for more than a decade, mentoring and teaching in both church settings and informal circles. Carissa is committed to seeing lives transformed through knowledge, encouragement, and the power of God's Word. Help me welcome my guest today, and I like to say all the way from Trinidad, Carissa Samuel. Carissa, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
And of course, welcome to beautiful Tobago.
Yes, it's lovely to be here.
Yes. Well, today we will be talking about some areas to consider when seeking to have a serious relationship or committed relationship, as we sometimes put it. Some of the things we overlook, and chat a bit about single life. All right, as I said, our topic is relationship is serious business. Yes. All right, so tell us firstly, I want us to talk about some of the things one should seriously consider when getting into a relationship or seeking a life partner.
Yeah, and thank you so much, for having me, and for us to have this open conversation, because all of us, we go into relationships. We want to get into relationships, and we don't always know exactly what we should do. Sometimes we just go with somebody based on how they look,
yes,
and how they feel, and that's not necessarily all that is, So for us to get into a relationship, we want to get with somebody. We want to have a meaningful, lifelong, stable relationship. It's really important for us to, first of all, know ourselves, know where God is leading us, know exactly the vision and plan for our life. Like, where am I going? What are my talents? What's my vision? Where am I heading?
Yes.
We need to know some of these things, because getting with somebody, having a lifelong relationship with somebody, that person is going to be part of your life. They are essentially part of where you are going, yes. And being able to connect in that way, being able to, that person can add to your journey, that person can help direct you, so actually knowing where you are going is one of the first and most important things, that we need to consider while we are considering somebody. Is this person meeting where I am going? Okay. Can this person connect? Can this person be with me, throughout time?
So you would usually hear that it is wise to deal with things early on in the relationship. What are some of the questions one should have answers to in the early stages?
Mm-hmm. Well, we should have answers to where is this person going? Is this person compatible with me? And I use that word compatible. Well, we use the word compatible a lot. Compatible in the sense of, is this person, can they endure with me? Can they line up? Right? So friendliness is important. So that's a question, which is this person friendly?
Okay.
Some people are nice, but are they friendly? Are they kind? That's necessary for a lifelong relationship, because the newness of a relationship is eventually going to fizzle.
Yes.
Right? We are going to get accustomed to each other. And so when you get friendly, when we get accustomed to each other, are you still friendly? You're not just supposed to be nice at the beginning. Right? So is this person friendly? That's a question that you need to ask. Is this person supportive and ambitious?
Okay.
In my, in the same way I am? whatever level you're at, can this person meet me there? Does this person have qualities that help me grow? Sometimes I mention compatibility. We think of compatibility in terms of sameness. The person you get with doesn't have to be just like you.
Right.
That does not always work.
Okay.
Because I have areas of strength, right, in my character, but I also have areas of weakness. Any particular person,
yes,
I have areas of weakness. So me being compatible with you, can we endure together? Can you help me grow? Let's say, for example, it could be something like time management. Am I always on time or am I always late? Two people who are always late is not going to be the best.
That's problem.
Right? Somebody who always pays the bills as opposed to somebody who forgets some of these things. Both of us forgetting to pay the bills or always, that does not work out well. So compatibility is not always sameness, but can we endure together in harmony? Balance.
Okay.
Can this person bring balance to my life? Does this person bring balance to my life? So is this person friendly? Because that is going to last. What are the qualities and characteristics of this person that adds to me, that makes me better? It works well with me in my sameness, so we could, have synergy. And then the places that I am weak in, is that person strong in? So these are some things to consider. The core of our spiritual beliefs, that's really very important. Okay. As you mentioned earlier, that's the core of who I am, and I know everybody here, it may not be the core of who you are, but wherever you are, is that person close to or can relate to where you are at? For example, I'm a believer. There are people who are atheists. And so my core beliefs completely and directly oppose that person's core beliefs. Right. And so in relationship, because you are close together and working together, that is going to be a space of contention many times. Okay. And so so asking some of these serious questions, asking things like finances. How do you deal with, well, you may not ask, you may just observe in the beginning, because you said it early on, right? Yes. So you're just kind of watching, you're listening to little stories, you're hearing stories of the past, you may look at different things, you may ask a question and you begin to learn. Then you could ask a question about finances, you can ask, not how much is your bank account? But, you said you only had so much and so much money, I see you doing this, and you just kind of bring up the conversation and hear what the person says. And hearing what the person says is an important thing. If that person doesn't say what you wanted to say, it doesn't mean the relationship is off and this could never work. Okay. It just means, okay, let's talk about this. You can see if that person, again, is open to learning new things, because all that is part of relationship. Yes. We ebb and we flow, and I learn from you, and you learn from me, and you hear things I have done, and you say, wow, that's interesting. I never thought of budgeting. Right? Some people may have never thought of budgeting. They just spend what they have and they make it work, and now I come into contact with you and you budget. Wow. You write down how much you have and then you tally all the expenses. Wow. And then I see how it works out for you. Right. And because I am amicable and because I am friendly, because I'm adaptable, I realize, wow, let me try to do some of that. And then now I'm learning from you. Yes. And so all of these questions and all of these topics that come up during, getting to know somebody is important to pay attention to, not just to sweep it under the carpet. Yes. So I'm not really going to look at that, but you take notice of it. Yes. Yeah, and so those big topics, things like sex, abstinence, whatever your core beliefs are, these are things to establish earlier on. And, ask little questions about it or bring it up in topic, bring it up and hear the person's response. You would know, okay, your lifestyle may not be my lifestyle. My lifestyle may not be comfortable for you or adaptable for you. Yes. So, these are some really important life topics that you should make sure and go into when the topic arises, Because as you're talking there, I am just considering, because sometimes persons might say, he's a really good guy, or she's a really nice person, but is that person the right fit for you
based on where you are going, based on your dreams, your vision, your goals, and your aspirations. If it is that the other party, they don't have any drive, they don't have any vigor, they don't have any energy, and it's like you want to head to these places, you want to explore, you want to do some exciting things, and they are just, if Monday fall on a Saturday, it doesn't really matter. So we're looking at, and later on we're going to talk a little bit more about compatibility, but I'm hearing that we have to look for the people that would be the right fit for us.
Yeah, there are some people you may think, traveling the world or seeing everywhere, that is what everybody does. And sometimes we believe what we have in our mind and what is normal and natural to us, it is natural for everybody. But you could come across a person, they are nice, they are lovely, they are handsome, everything looks right on paper, but that person may say to you, no, I am comfortable staying right here. What is the need to do all of those things? This is a beautiful country. I could stay right here and I never need to go anywhere. This is a paradise.
Yes.
And those things could bring serious contention in relationship. And again, I would say it's important for us to be self-aware, know who you are. This is not something you would compromise on. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, I am going places. I have to. It is somehow, there are some things that's rooted in us.
Yes.
You've always been seeing yourself doing that since you were young. You've always, and definitely it's going to happen. And that's not something to compromise on. So when you have that level of self-awareness, even if this person looks really good on paper, this person looks like, what everybody would say, this is what you should do.
Perfect.
It's perfect. No, we're not in the same place.
Okay.
We are not in the same place. And so having that level of self-awareness brings you that clarity. It gives you that strength to know, yes, it might be nice for now, maybe for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, but I am moving. And ideally, I would want my partner to be able to move with me, support me when I'm moving, support, the different things I'm doing, and not feel, for instance, and not feel left behind or ignored.
Or not a part of it.
Because if somebody, in the same example, has no desire to travel, and you're getting into a life where you want to travel for one reason or the other, that person could feel neglected, abandoned. Also, it leaves space for all sorts of things to creep in there, and so self-awareness is a really very important part. It's not first and foremost, because God is first and foremost, knowing who God has created me to be, where I am going to go. We don't always have the full length of those answers, but you have an indication.
You have an idea.
You have an indication of where I may venture into, and so it's really important to be aware of who you are, what you want to get into. And even though that person may end up being a friend, and they may be fine as a friend, I also realize that some people, as they get older in singleness, they tend to compromise some of those things that may have been so core earlier on in life, because the societal pressures start weighing in, the family pressures start weighing in. You yourself, you're looking around at maybe your friends who you went to school with, who you grew up with, and you're seeing what's happening in their life, and that's kind of sending a message to you like, okay, maybe I need to grab this one. Right? And but it's definitely going to cause some issues later on in life. I mean, if you as a person decide that I'm going to put this aside, because there's it's not that burning for them. I'll put this aside and I'll just do this. Then that's what it is. If you have made that decision, because there are some people who will make that decision.
Of course.
So you make that decision, all right, fine. But you cannot bring it back up later on.
Exactly, because
and then put pressure on the relationship. You have put it aside. And I'm talking about all of this because it's important for us to be aware of what we do cognitively, what we do in our mind. What are the driving factors behind our decisions, so that I can say, okay, I have put it aside, and it may or it may not happen again in my life. I'm fine with that.
Right. Okay.
We cannot just say, in your mind, you put it aside, and this person who you are going with is supposed to know that this was a big thing when you met me.
Right. So later on, you can't expect.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, no, you can't, unless it was a conversation you brought to the table and say, listen, see this particular thing. I know this is not how you are, but you need to have conversation about it. This is a particular important thing to me. Because of who you are and what you want, I'll put it aside for now.
Right.
But there may be a time later on, 5 years, maybe you could give up, a range of time. I may want to look at it again.
Right.
So you have to make some of those things. That particular conversation I just talked about is called like Crucial Conversations.
Right.
I didn't make that up. There's actually a book called Crucial Conversations.
Okay.
Yeah, and it actually talks about those high stakes conversations where we're going to talk about something, but I know things might change after this, but it's still important that I have to have this conversation anyway. And what I realize, some people, both married and single, they kind of sometimes stay away from those conversations that could get a little tense because we don't know how to deal with it, because we're not sure what's going to happen after, But it is definitely a skill that you can build.
Right.
Because as I said, there's a book, that talks to you about looking at the heart, putting the heart first. And in the conversation, not just trying to get your points out and state all of your things, but maintain the relationship and consider how this person is feeling and read their facial expressions and read their tone of voice and apologize a little bit and just calm it down and then say, okay, no, I just still want to, So it's very important for us to learn how to have some of those conversations, especially as we're talking about relationships. It's serious business.
It is.
And learning that skill, developing that skill of having crucial conversations is really going to help us to have better relationships.
Yes, indeed.
It's going to help us to have stronger relationships because I know that I can talk to you and we can have this conversation about something tense and still be okay. Right.
Well, at this time, we're going to take our first break and we will come back because I want us to talk about those things that could be deal breakers in relationships.
Yes,
all right,
nice.
So we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. You've been transforming lives one at a time. Stay with us.
If you're wondering where to find top-tier quality tiles and products to refurbish or renovate your wall, floor or pool, well, your worry is over. Come to D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center, Store Bay Local Road, opposite the Bonnecourt Primary School, Tobago, where you will find porcelain, mosaic and ceramic tiles of the highest quality guaranteed. D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center also stocks thinset, grout, tile cutters and yes, windows. Plus a friendly smile and service that's second to none awaits you. So forget the hassle and get all the quality tiles you need right here in Tobago at D-Cell's Tile and Ceiling Center. Call us today at 460-8802, 639-8281. Opens Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m.
Do you need electrical and plumbing supplies from construction to finish? Then check out Voodoo's Enterprises Limited, Milford Road, Canaan, Tobago. Get LED bulbs and fixtures, septic tanks, water pumps, laminate flooring, press-cut power tools, and so much more. Open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. Call 280-2050 or 660-4970. Voodoo's Enterprises Limited.
Hi, I am Dianne, host of Transforming Lives One at a Time, and I would like to introduce you to our brand new segment, Good Vibes, Good News. And this is where you have the opportunity to highlight your good news. You can send your 90 seconds video to our WhatsApp number 868-701-2099. That's 868-701-2099. Let's hear some of the good news that we never hear about. Good vibes, good news, inspiring hope, celebrating wins, truly grateful.
Welcome back to the program. Well, Carissa, many times we see single persons who are sometimes pressured, and we touched just a little bit on it, but I want us to get a little more into a little more detail. Whether they are being told that their biological clock is ticking, and we touched just a little bit on it, but I want us to get a little more into a little more detail. Whether they are being told that their biological clock is ticking, all your siblings are married, all your friends are married already. What's up with you? What's going on? What up? So you ain't seen no fella that you like? So you ain't seen no lady that you like? You know, that kind of that kind of thing. So as a result, sometimes they would compromise their values and their standards. I want us to talk about the dangers of that.
Yeah, you know, I'm so glad you talked about that, because so many people are in that same position that we are talking about right now. And, you know, if you're looking on and you happen to come across, you know, this video and so on, you know, I would say to you, don't compromise where you're at. The actual dangers of compromising, it puts everything, it puts your vision, it puts your future at risk. When I say at risk, I mean, if you function out of, for want of a better word, desperation, because you know you want to get somebody,
yes,
you run the chance of just putting everything aside and just grabbing anybody who comes along. You know, you may put your spirituality aside and just say, you know, forget about all spiritual beliefs. I will just,
yes,
you know, this person is a good person and he is working or she is working and they seem nice. Let me just go ahead and do it and make it work. You may put aside your own ambitions,
yeah,
of what you wanted to do, of some of the things, some of the steps you had to go forward because of money, because of finances. You now have to put your money elsewhere, you know. And these are some of the dangers if we allow everything that society is pushing at us to take root in us. It then brings fear, it brings anxiety, and when we function out of that emotional place, we could tend to make some illogical decisions.
Okay.
You know, and look back on it later on like, why did I just rush and do this? You know, I could have waited.
Yeah.
And, you know, the anxiety and the nervousness gets us out of kilter. We tend not to hear from God. We tend to forget some of the things that were so serious to us, were so important for us,
yes,
were so important to our impact. You know, sometimes we tend to forget that we impact the people around us. We impact our co-workers, we impact our friends, we impact our family by, you know, the things that we say and we do and the giftings that
yes,
lie within us. We impact people. And so it's really important that we learn how to just quiet some of the voices. There are voices around us.
Yes.
Things society is saying, things the family is saying, there are voices all around us. And we need to quiet it and be like, okay, yes, I know, I want to get married. So you admit that to yourself.
yeah,
I want to get married. I want a lifelong partner. I want children. I want all of these things. First of all, we go to God. This is what I would say. We go to God. God, help me, you know, to find who is right for my life. We also look at ourselves. I know who I am. And if by chance you don't know who you are, ask some people some questions. That's not something we may do. Ask, you have friends around you, ask them.
yes.
Describe me in 3 words. If somebody was to say, ask you about me, describe me in 3 words. You will be shocked to hear some of the words people use to describe you.
Yeah.
And that can help you now because you get an outsider perspective on yourself. You say, wow, you see me as resourceful. Okay. Or wow, somebody may say they see you as selfish. You're like, I'm selfish. You may have never seen yourself as selfish.
Right.
You know, there is, in theory, there's a concept called the Johari window.
Yes.
Right? Many
Yes,
people may be familiar with the
of
Johari window.
course.
So there's a blind side.
That you
There's a
don't
side
see.
of you that you don't see. As much as we talked about self-awareness and knowing myself, there is a side of you that you may not see.
Correct.
And so self-awareness is also asking people about you.
Right.
You know? Ask different people, ask co-workers, ask somebody you know, ask a friend, ask your family, ask different people. Give me 3 words if somebody was to ask you about me, give me 3 words, and hear what they say. And so when you get, you have a nice little pool of information that you're looking at now, and you say, you know what, yes, I know I want to get married. Yes, I know about the biological clock and all these different things. But it is not something that I want to have a child without the father there. It's not something that I want, if I don't know this relationship is going forward. It's not something I want outside of marriage.
Right.
That is not what I want. And so I am going to wait, and you just stick to what you are doing, because at the end of the day, once you're a believer, a faith-based individual functioning in life, and so definitely that God makes no mistakes.
Right.
God makes no mistakes. God knows where I am, and I am diligently working towards doing what I have to do. And so along the way, it is going to happen. It is going to work out. What I've also found is we put a timeline on things. While we are teenagers, we sit and we think, by this age I will do this, and by that age I'll do that. And then when the age is there, you're like, wait, it's not here. That may not have been God's timeline.
Right, yes.
And so we put ourselves under the pressure to follow this timeline that we put together.
Right.
But me at 25 is a completely different person from me at 35.
Correct.
Because I have grown.
Yes.
I have learned a lot more about life. I have learned a lot more about relationships and consequences. I've learned a lot more about my career, who I am, what I want to do, the impact, my giftings, my teachings, my skills.
Yes. And
so me at that age, I have learned much more, and after you all have looked at, all of these things, and you realize, wait, crucial conversations. Maybe I could really learn about that. That's going to make your next relationship better.
Of course.
When
so
you learn how to
in
have,
the interim.
Exactly, you know how to have crucial conversations.
Yes.
And so the dangers of rushing into something, you could run the risk of getting into a relationship you don't want, getting into a relationship you easily regret, and possibly forfeiting something good that God has for you later down the road if you had just waited.
Yes, and I'm thinking in terms of the deal breakers, because there are certain things that certain standards and values and morals that you have, certain principles that you would have set for yourself as an individual. And if that person doesn't have that, then immediately that's a deal breaker. So I'm hearing that you have to be intentional in your decision as to finding that person. And sometimes I remember I was having a conversation with a gentleman, and he was saying that many times ladies are looking for Mr. Right. The person may not be right for you.
Yeah.
So you're looking for Mr. Right, but you want somebody who is right for you as an individual, who could be able to fit in, be that right fit for you, as we say. But I want us to touch quickly on, of course, if you are still broken from a previous relationship, it has been said that hurting people hurt people. And it is extremely difficult to have a fruitful and a rewarding relationship if you are still reeling from hurt of a previous one. I want you to share about the importance of that healing process when a relationship ends, and how best to make that transition.
Yeah. When a relationship ends, for most people, you hurt. You enter into a bit of a stage of grief and loss.
Yes.
Right? Sometimes we think of loss only as in death or so. But when a relationship ends, it's a stage of grief and loss. And the process of healing is absolutely important. Some people they probably don't go through healing, they just replace.
Yes.
They replace one with the next. But then what you would find happening is you would carry all of the old baggage, all of the old issues that you inherited or adopted into that relationship. And so the healing process looks something like reflection. Point 1, Step 1, reflect. So you reflect on what has happened, what you did, what the person did, what you said, what the person said, not just in the breakup conversation, but throughout the relationship. You would have been doing things that lead to somewhere.
Right.
So you reflect on what happened. I always encourage people to write. Writing is incredibly powerful. So many things come out in writing that you may not have just thought of. If you are not into paper and pen, you're into your cell phone, open the notes.
Of course.
And type, what happened, and, just start typing as if you were talking to somebody. So you're reflecting on what has happened, what you didn't like about that person, what you didn't like in their traits, what you didn't like in the way they made you feel when they did a particular thing, because then you are going to begin to see some patterns about yourself.
Right.
It helps you to understand, oh, I really don't like when, somebody shouts at me. And there's different level of dislike that different people would have. When somebody shouts at me, I really don't like it. Or when somebody says they're going to do something and then they just don't do it, I really do not like that. Yes. So in writing, you get to reflect on what happened there. After reflection, you then, so through reflection, you become more self-aware. You have learned something from that relationship about yourself, about what you want in relationships, about what you want in a partner. Because we cannot make somebody be how we want.
That is it.
Many times we think, that's minor issues, I will just make them. No, we can't.
Right.
It's really important for us to see who they are and say, okay, this is who this person is. I could bring to the table what I want, but they may or may not adjust. Okay. And you look for that adjustment. We must continue to remain intentional, deliberate, and observant in our relationships. So you reflect. You're now adding to your self-awareness.
Yes.
Right? And you must forgive.
Of course, very important.
Because without forgiveness, without that letting go of what has happened, you can then carry that into the next relationship. You can then cement in your mind that men are this particular way.
Right.
Or women do this particular thing. Or people who say this particular sentence will always come and do this particular thing later on. And those things are not totally true. So it's important. So in the forgiveness is a letting go. There's a space in forgiveness where you tend to feel owed. Like this person owes me this particular thing. Or I should have. And that is not that is not true. And so forgiveness helps you to let go of, this person doesn't owe me anything. If it was 5 years of my life,
right.
If it was 10 years of my life, this person doesn't owe me because you stayed in the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? So the forgiveness is forgiving that person for what they may have done, the things they may have said. Sometimes in anger, when people don't know how to fight fairly and they don't know how to have some of these important, tense conversations, they can throw things in your face to hurt you. Because fighting fairly is a whole other topic.
Yes.
Right? But and when we are really untrained, or unaware, I should say, unaware of some of these things, we tend to, if I feel hurt, I hurt you back. And I hurt you back with something that you said to me in confidence.
Right.
You said that to me in a tender moment when we were quiet and we were sharing. And now that we are angry, or you may have said something to me that I feel a little sting, I pull that back up and I throw it at you. And so it's important to forgive. Let that person go for what they said. Let that person go for what they have done. Let that person go and then forgive yourself.
Yeah.
We don't forgive ourselves, Forgiving yourself is important.
Very.
I know that person did this particular thing. I didn't stand up for myself and say, don't do that to me again. Because I didn't know how to have the harsh conversation.
I stayed too long in this relationship.
I stayed too long in this relationship because, oh gosh, this was the last one.
Yes.
So, sometimes we tell ourselves things and, I keep going back to being so aware of what we are telling ourselves. Because you could have that in your mind. I don't know if anybody else will come along.
Yes, let me hold on.
Yeah, this is my time. And time is an investment. So the longer we stay in something, I've invested all these years, it is going to go here. It has to.
Wow, that is profound.
Yeah.
I want us to touch on some of the things couples must be prepared to share in marriage, whether it be finances or to just share home. Sometimes having somebody in your space when you're so accustomed. You're accustomed having everything set in this, And then you come now and you throw in this here, and I'm accustomed coming home and meet my entire home clean, and now you are there, and it's like, tell us, let's talk about that. Real talk.
Real talk. It's a serious thing, having somebody in your space. It's not just for the romantic side of it. There are those real things.
Yes.
You probably don't like to wash wares, and so, just as you said, you leave wares in the sink. These are things we have to prepare to share. Our space.
Yes.
Personal space. When you're single, your personal space is a very wide space, especially if you live by yourself. Especially if you have been single for a while. You've been a while on your single journey.
Yes.
So you have established yourself a bit. You have all your own appliances, you have your own vehicle, you have your own stuff, right? And now you get married. You have to prepare to share your space. That person is going to be in your face.
Yes. All the time.
And you have to be ready for that. Yes, you love them, but you have to be aware of the fact that, okay, I still need some personal space, and what to do when I need that personal space. You can say, I now reach home, you know. You give them a kiss, a hug, or whatever. Maybe you need your personal space just after you get home, because you have a really very intense job, or the commute is really very long, so you spend hours in traffic, and I just need to decompress when I get home.
Let me just unwind a bit, and I'll come prepare dinner.
So saying that one sentence can help to prepare your partner that, okay, when she gets home, she needs that space. It could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Of course.
They know they leave you to go do whatever, instead of bombarding you immediately with what they want to talk about, what they want to share with you, what they need you to do in the house, right? So being able to say that one sentence is important, because it then de-escalates stress, as opposed to adding on to the stress, because I just came home stressed. I'm glad to be home, but I just need to throw off some stuff before we move forward. I don't love you any less.
Right, got you.
But you just need to throw off. And so saying this one sentence, just give me 20 minutes and I'll come back. I just need to, whether you decide to go to the bathroom, you just go lay on the bed or whatever. And this happens with children as well, you know. And this can work with children as well. When you get home, they are excited to see you. And they want to run up to you, and they want to tell you everything, and they want to show you everything, and they want you to come and do everything with them right now. They can also understand, Mommy now come home, Daddy now come home. Just give me 5 minutes, right? I will come back. Or give me 10 minutes. I am closing the door. Show them the clock. The time, you see the long hand is on the 5 right now. Don't come and knock on the door until it's on the 9. They're gonna watch that clock every minute. But you build in some kind of boundaries and stuff around yourself so that you're not screaming and shouting at everybody, right?
Of course.
So you tell them that. And when it's on 9, you have to come out. You can't take any more time.
Of course.
Right? So you make sure. So space is one thing that you have to share. You're going to have to share finances. You're going to realize how close some things were to you in terms of material possessions. You really value your couch, or you really value these particular appliances. You realize that, oh my gosh, this person is... Then you have to have a conversation about it. The way we have the conversation is also important. You don't just shout at somebody. You see how you're doing that? You see?
It's not about what you say, it's about how it is said.
How you say it is incredibly important, because you make the person feel bad. You make the person feel disrespected. You make the person feel like you value that more than me. And that may not be it. I value it. I value you. I'm just kind of letting you know, this is how I do it.
Of course.
You know? And so you let the person, this is how you... So you have to share your space. You have to share your valuables. You share your material possessions, you share your time.
Everything. So many things are these. So could we say you have to definitely count the cost?
You have to count the cost.
Count the cost.
And I think it's a beautiful experience, especially when we learn how to say some of the things we want to say.
In a decent, proper way.
When we learn how to say it and it doesn't get into an argument. We learn how to say it and the person can receive it. We learn how to say it, and okay, maybe it didn't go over so well,
Yes.
How can I fix it?
Of
Say,
course.
okay, I really didn't mean for it to be like that or for you to feel this way. And so having those things really going to build your strength.
Yes.
Is going to build your future relationships.
Of course.
Because you are comfortable.
Definitely.
Having the conversation.
Definitely. Well, we're going to take, I tell you, the time is quickly approaching and I'm not very happy about that. But we're going to take another short break and we will be right back. Stay with us.
If you're wondering where to find top-tier quality tiles and products to refurbish or renovate your wall, floor or pool, well, your worry is over. Come to DCell's Tile and Ceiling Center, Store Bay Local Road, opposite the Bonnecourt Primary School, Tobago, where you will find porcelain, mosaic and ceramic tiles of the highest quality guaranteed. DCell's Tile and Ceiling Center also stocks thinset, grout, tile cutters and yes, windows. Plus a friendly smile and service that's second to none awaits you. So forget the hassle and get all the quality tiles you need right here in Tobago at DCell's Tile and Ceiling Center. Call us today at 460-8802, 639-8281. Opens Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m.
Do you need electrical and plumbing supplies from construction to finish? Then check out Voodoo's Enterprises Limited, Milford Road, Canaan, Tobago. Get LED bulbs and fixtures, septic tanks, water pumps, laminate flooring, press cut power tools, and so much more. Open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. Call 280-2050 or 660-4970. Voodoo's Enterprises Limited.
Welcome back, my guest today, Carissa Samuel, all the way from Trinidad, did I mention? Well, Carissa, I want us to talk about two persons coming from completely different backgrounds, interrelationship, and what are some of the dynamics involved here?
Yeah, we have some pretty intense dynamics. When we say different backgrounds, we're talking about, two different family of origin.
Yes.
Two different childhood experiences.
Correct.
And so your normal is completely different from my normal when we are living in the home, in a home setting.
Yes.
So let's assume these two people are not yet married, right? They have seen each other, they look nice, they come together, and then I go to your home for something because you seem just like me, you feel just like me, so we get together and so on. I go to your home and I realize there's a lot of shouting and arguing and bickering, and I feel stunned because my home life, my home of origin, is more somber, quiet, calm, peaceful. Yes, we may laugh and talk and so, but it doesn't feel argumentative or combative.
Yes.
So I look across at you, expecting to see the same surprise that I feel. But you look completely at home. You look at rest. And at that point I realize, okay, this is normal. This is your normal. What does that mean for the relationship? That means, I don't want to put totally general statements out there because, different things can happen. People change and grow and so on. Because somebody is of that background doesn't mean they would be that way and stay that way. But we're just saying for context of what we're talking about here. It means that that person's normal can filter into our relationship.
Yeah.
They may say some stuff in a certain way. Their natural reaction to alarm, their natural reaction if they get upset, their natural reaction if something huge happens in the home, they could immediately go into that template.
Right.
They have a template for behavior, right? It could be loud and shouting and everybody in the neighborhood must hear what I'm saying because I am vexed. Some people, some cultures, that's how it is. When you're vexed, everybody have to hear what's going on because you're trying to show that you're angry, right? So knowing what the normal is important because then now you can address it. Having the conversations are important. Hearing where this person is at. This person could come out of that family and decide, I really don't like it. I never liked it. And I have been working on myself. To get to a different place, and they may even hold me accountable. If you see me start shouting, remind me, babe, Or somebody could have a different response. Yeah, that's how we are. And it will always be like that.
Right.
And this helps you to understand, okay, you have some decisions to make as you go along. Do I want this for my life? Do I want this for my children?
Well, precisely because I was just thinking, this lady will now be the mother of my children, or this man will now be the father of my children. Is that the kind of example that I want?
And then that brings a tone in the home. So a quiet, peaceful type of home has a different tone. It feels different, as opposed to one that may be combative, tense, argumentative, right? There's a different tone in the home. And of course, we know the environments we're in, it impacts our emotions and all these different things, right? That's a whole different set of science, right? And so when you come from two different backgrounds, yes, it can work if you are aware of where you came from and you all have made an agreement about what we want for the future.
Okay.
So having a conversation is important. Because we come from two different backgrounds, it doesn't mean our future could never happen,
so
or it will be exactly.
You are now creating a home for yourself.
We have
so you
to
are
create.
deciding.
Yes, what are we carrying over into our new home? What do we want? Everything from that combative home may not be bad. There may be some good things.
So take the good, leave the rest.
Take the and we have to talk about what is the good.
Okay.
We have to talk about what was the good from that family. Maybe they're always close, they're always together, they always celebrate graduations and birthdays and public holidays. They always celebrate. That's a good thing.
Okay.
We could take that over. But what about the argumentative? What about being critical?
Yes.
What about being combative? What about being calling each other names and shouting?
But even so, more importantly, I think the question is, are there any benefits to these sides? I mean, there is nothing helpful about using expletives in your family setting.
Yeah.
There is nothing helpful or beneficial about being combative. There is nothing beneficial about you having an argument with your brother or your sister and the entire neighborhood has to come out and curtains are pulling. There is no benefit. There are no benefits to these. So I think even with couples coming together, they have to decide, listen, this was this, okay, that's the past. I am now deciding, or we are deciding, that this is how we are going to bring up our children. This is how we are going to have that kind of cordial, amicable relationship. We have to decide.
Exactly. And you know, I love that you said all of that, because they must state it ahead of time and not just assume that the person know that these things not good. Why you coming our family and doing this now?
Right.
You know, I remember your family always used to do that, and now you are angry with the person, but it was never said.
Okay.
We must make sure we say, you know, we have that conversation. These are the things we see. These are the things we've learned from people.
Yes.
It may never have been in my family, but we don't want it.
Right.
You know, we must make sure we have that conversation. I think that's incredibly important for couples. Too many things sometimes go unsaid, and we function on assumption.
Yeah.
And my assumption is not obvious to you. What looks obvious to me may not be obvious to you. And so we definitely need to talk about it. Because you would assume that, no, that's not the way to do it. And the person would say, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right. Okay.
So when we have
communication.
So when we have the conversation, now you realize, oh, this person, they don't see anything wrong with that. I'm not willing to live like that.
Blown away, like, no, just no.
Yeah, some people, when you're angry, it's cuss.
Yeah.
Or when you're angry, you know, you must shout.
Yes.
You know, and it takes work to bring these things under control. It takes work to rewire our mind. It takes work to unlearn all of these practices that we've been seeing and experiencing since we were children.
Yeah, and as you rightfully said, I remember some years ago, I was having a conversation with this young lady. And, you know, she was using obscene, so I was like, please, please be more respectful.
Yeah.
She said, well, my grandmother used to use expletives, my mother uses expletives, and I am using expletives, but I'm trying. But of course, Rome wasn't built in a day. I said, it didn't take forever either. I said, put some effort on it. It doesn't sound right.
Yes.
It's not good, because what are you are sending it to your children now.
Yes.
So that's generation. And I really had to rebuke her sharply.
Yes.
Because it's like if she was proud about it.
Yes.
Because she was talking about the past generations and how it hasn't stopped by her.
Yes.
So I had to rebuke her sharply and said, no, this has got to stop. You got to be more respectful.
Yes.
So sometimes we allow things to go on and on when in fact we should be putting a stop to this and said, listen, this is going to stop here and it is not going to go forward.
Yes.
And be very intentional about it.
And what you just said there, it shows how she has integrated it into her identity.
Yes, that's a part of her life.
She connected that to who she is.
Yes.
And
very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, I want to just piggyback as we begin to bring the curtains down on what we were speaking about earlier about singles and some of the dynamics involved, because many persons based on statistics are opting to remain single. And of course that is a personal decision and they should not be made to feel as if there is something wrong. To each his own. If I choose to remain single, that's my choice. If you choose, that is your choice. So I want to talk about that single person now becoming the best version of themselves, maximizing their potential, excelling, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so that person, I always say the gift of time and singleness. Because the time that you are single, the time that you're on your journey, is not a waiting room that has nothing in it and I'm doing nothing and I'm going nowhere.
Right.
I have the abundance of time on afternoons. I have the abundance of time on weekends. Yes, we have other things to do, chores, helping out, whatnot, ministry, that type of stuff. We have these things, but you still have the abundance of time, of your mental space to work on what I want to work on. And so, as a single person, utilize that time. You never know when you could get married, when you may meet somebody. You want to travel? Put things in place and begin to travel.
Yes.
You want to become a journalist? Find out about where you can learn about those things and do it. You want to grow in your spirituality and learning more about God and knowing who He is and finding out, what am I here for? Because that's a question every person tends to ask.
Yes.
What am I really here for? Take a look at the things that get you upset, that you feel like this could be done better. That may be an indication that you know how to do it better.
Yes.
Some of the things that you may look at a particular movie and you see somebody in a career and they're doing this thing and you're like, wow. Something about it intrigues you.
Yes.
Go look into it. Go learn about it.
Of course.
Find out somebody who is doing it. There may be somebody in your family, in your neighborhood, in any one of your circles who is doing that particular job. Talk to them. Find out about the job. Find out if you could go on a job with them. Learn about it and you grow. Right? So you're growing in God. You're growing in your strengths. And I mentioned strengths a couple times because our character is very important. There are so many different strengths that we can build upon. Do you know honesty is a strength?
Yes.
Honesty is a strength. Loyalty. Creativity, that's a strength.
Yes.
Curiosity is a strength. So sometimes we may say, but I don't really have anything. Yes, you do. You are inquisitive. You like to research. You may be online all the time. As you find out about something, you are into research.
Yes.
You're going to find all the different places that has the information, and you could collate and realize, okay, no, that's fake news. Okay, no. That's a strength. So look at some of the strengths that you have and then start using your strengths every single day in some way. If honesty is your strength, be honest, not hurtful.
Yes.
Not, I just say what I have to say, not that, but be honest with people, be honest with yourself. And I encourage people to journal every day. It's incredibly important. And you would build as a single. Look at your finances. Are you ready to be married? Are you really ready to share your life and your finances and bills and all that with somebody? Are you coming into the relationship with debt? Are you in debt right now? Find a plan. There's so many things out there online. Find a plan to get out of debt. Find a way to budget. Find a way, build yourself, really prepare yourself. Tell yourself right now, if you know you want to get married, tell yourself, I am a wife. And put things in place to be able to deal with somebody. Let's say maybe you don't want to get married, right? You just want to continue living life. You can be the best person that you can be. The best auntie.
Yes.
The best minister. The best, whatever your position is at work.
Right.
You can be that best person. How? By looking at your strengths, by honing in on those things that interest you and learn more about it, learn how to do it better, maybe learn how to do it in a faster time.
Yes.
What about your conditioning for your body and your endurance and your strength and taking care of your organs and your skin and all these things? All these things makes up who you are.
Yes.
So even as a single person, you are making yourself better. You are becoming better in time management. You're becoming better with dealing with stresses. How do I deal with stresses? Do I, suppress it and then break out? Do I have to see a breakout to realize I'm stressed?
Right.
Do I have to have something go off in my body to realize I'm stressed? No.
Yes.
I should be a little more cognizant to realize this time in the year is usually stressful at work. So I know I'm going to be stressed. Let me put a massage in place. Let me decide I want to watch these movies. Let me decide I love the beach. I'm going to make sure I go to the beach every 2 weeks or something like that. Put stuff in place because we are becoming better people, right?
Yes, of course.
So as you become a better person, you do get in a relationship at some point. You can then give this information to the person you're with.
Of course.
They don't have to figure it out.
You could share.
You can share it and tell them, this is how I do it. This is how I do it. And it helps to make connections and lasting connections work.
Definitely. Well, as we begin to wrap up, I would like to give you the opportunity to share quickly a word of advice that you would give to a person who is now contemplating a lifelong commitment. You could speak into the camera.
All right. So, it's a beautiful experience to get with somebody, and as you are contemplating getting with somebody, you may be in that relationship already, or you may be looking at somebody and wondering, is this person, is it going to work? Is this person for me? You may have, all these different questions. I would say, get pen and paper or use your phone and write down some of these things we talked about. Write down who you are. Write down where you're going. Write down things that you know about this person that can help you to reach where you need to go. Write down how you work with this person. Look at how you have conversations. How does this person respond when you say something that they didn't like? Is this person agreeable? Is this person teachable? Is this person able to adjust? Right? Look at how you're able to have some of these important and tense conversations. So look at things like this, and not just the outside. And I say that obviously we know the world is built so much around, right now, so much around how we look and the body shape and the face and the hair and all these things. But really look at the person's character, because it's their character that you're going to be living with. It's their character that's going to raise your children.
Definitely.
It's their character that's going to make decisions when you'll have financial things going on. It's their character that's going to help to give you empathy and support when you need it. It's their character. So really, hone in on, that person's character, God's plan for your life. If you have no idea what God's plan for your life is, ask Him. Read the Bible, and get to a place where you feel and you understand where you are going. Also talk to older people who you may know at work, in your family, older married couples. Ask them some questions and make a right decision, not out of emotion because you feel desperate or you feel like you're running out of time. Don't make decisions there. Make decisions where you are calm and yes, I think this will work. You have that assurance and that peace in going forward.
Yes, well, thank you so much. Well said. Well, I would like to sincerely thank my guest, Carissa Samuel, for making that sacrifice in flying over to Tobago just to be a part of this program, Transforming Lives Again. Transforming Lives one at a time, like I'm changing the name of the program. So thank you again, and please give birthday greetings to your mom.
Yes,
and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
viewers, this is how we bring the curtains down on part 1 of a 2-part series, Relationship is Serious Business. As usual, I leave you with the definition of transformation, which is an internal shift that brings us into alignment with our fullest potential. Hey, we've got this. See you next time for part 2.